TGIF, Browns fans. It is Friday, September 30th. This is your Daily Dog Take. It is the last day of September. I can't believe where the month of September has gone, man. It is. We are flying right through. Hey, we're having fun when we're talking football, right?
That's right.
Joined again by Trey from Falcons _ATV. It's Around the Block, right? Around the Block
That's right.
is
Yeah.
Yep, the Around the Block, and the new Melliniuem Falcon podcast, which is all the reason you need to go listen to it, because they had a creative name and I just said Daily Dog Takes. So here we are. It is what it is. Guys, if you want to check out the great people over at Homage, they make great merch. I'll put it down in the comments below. You see me wearing it all the time. They've got the NFL Blitz, the league. They got Blitz, the league, that lineup. It's got the Nick Chubb. They've got, I can't remember actually who their Falcons one is, but they do have Falcons merch as well. They do have all of that stuff. They got merch for The Office, which is like my favorite thing. So like I need to go get me a shirt from that. I just haven't gotten there yet. But I'll drop some links in the comments or the description down below. Guys, if you want to support Network 216, we do have our Patreon. That's patreon.com/network_216. We do the private Discord, exclusive merch giveaways, and then I do film breakdowns each week that are private, that are exclusive for the Patreon members. If you guys want to check that out. All right, man, let's dive into it. We talked Falcons offense yesterday. Let's talk the defense. So this is a really interesting game, and you and I have kind of talked about this a little bit off air as well, but I think it's an interesting situation where both offenses are playing relatively well and both defenses are playing. And at times playing well, but also at times just kind of playing. So let's start. I always like to start. We started with the line yesterday, so let's start up front. How's that? Let's start on the edges, and then we can work our way into the tackles. How's it look from the pass rusher standpoint? Are they struggling to get pressure? And when they are getting home, who's getting home the most?
Yeah, so you're looking at a almost completely new edge rush group outside of Ade Ogundeji, who was a draft pick from last season. So right now we've got two rookies. We've got Arnold Ebiketie, very high second-round draft pick that the team traded up for. Big fan of the rookie. He was able to get his first sack in the first game, so was really happy he was able to get it done right there. He's been doing good, getting a high pressure rate. We're not really seeing him get back to the QB as much right now, so kind of working through those growing pains. Other rookie, third-round pick, D'Angelo Malone out of Western Kentucky. Malone's an interesting one. We didn't see him week one. He was inactive, and then he's been active for the past two games, and I think we'll see him stay on the 53 for the rest of the year. He's a guy that's probably more of a power versus a speed rusher. I would say Arnold Ebiketie, also known AK within the fan base. He's kind of more of he's got some tools. He's got a good pass rush plan. He's probably somebody that just needs to get a little bit more size on him right now. And then Lorenzo Carter, former UGA, big fan of the fan base here. They love their dogs. So he's somebody that his pass rush win rate wasn't looking too solid at the beginning, but he's gotten home to the QB. He had a touchdown on special teams actually as well. So he's making plays at times on the field. So the edge rush group is really new and still looking like they're kind of figuring it out.
I will say that there could be a potential good matchup for Ebiketie on the left side, because when Jed Wills has played, Jed Wills takes a lot of fire from this fan base because anytime you play left tackle in Cleveland, you're compared to Joe Thomas. So if you that's
a losing battle. Yeah.
Like it's not fair to anybody, but that it's reality. It's what the fan base does up here. Yeah. And Jed is like, it had come out today and I made sure to put it out there. And of course I knew what I was doing when I tweeted, but ESPN had their all their pass rush win rate, in the run win rate. I can't.
That's a fun thing to say, isn't it? I did the same thing. I caught myself a win weight.
I'm like, it's win. Okay, all right, here we
like
are.
Elmer Fudd over here.
Yeah, right.
That's what I feel like.
I can't, and I tried it, and I love to bring the stat up, so I do it all the time, and I'm just like, wow. So Jed is second among tackles in the NFL and pass rush win rate. Pass block win rate. He's second amongst tackles in the NFL, which was really interesting compared to the way some people talk. Now, his run blocking has been less than spectacular. So, but when he has been susceptible to pressure and missed guys, is these athletic guys that go on the inside. I mean, there's an opportunity there to the spin move to the inside where you fake going out, and then you spin to the inside. That gets Jed a lot. He struggles with some of those from time to time. That is the one area. So that's a really interesting lineup to put, to match up there to where I think Ebiketie could, I think he could capitalize a little bit, but you never really know because Jed does play pretty well, but that is his weak spot. So into the inside, the defensive tackle, which is where the Browns feel a lot better is against defensive tackles with those two guards. They feel pretty good there. And Ethan Pochich has been pretty good at center. So overall, I mean, they got a tall task with the Browns run game coming to town. And that scheme is just, dude, if you love offensive line play, man, they are fun to watch. So
nasty
how do you feel about that daunting task?
Yeah, daunting is definitely the right word. Grady Jarrett is back to his all-pro ways. He actually closed out the game against the Seahawks with a sack. He's really looking refreshed. He got paid, so you love to see guys that after they get paid, they look like they're still trying to get that next contract. I would say, another guy worth mentioning would be Taquan Graham. Graham's second-year player out of Texas. He's really coming into his own. He's made a lot of strides. But outside of that, we just got some guys. We have Anthony Rush, kind of a depth piece, nose tackle. He was somebody that people were high on because he overachieved as an undrafted free agent last season. But this season it's kind of looked like he's hit the wall. Another undrafted free agent rookie we have this year, Timmy Horn, really interesting story. Guy's about a 6'5", 300+ pound nose tackle. And I mean, he's got some of the lightest feet I've ever seen. Really hoping he can kind of put something together. But, the weakness of this team is definitely the interior when you look past Grady Jarrett. They've struggled against the run. And, the D-line as a whole has really struggled against the run. So that's definitely, the matchup that I think, if I was a Browns fan, I'd be really excited about the interior matchups because it's definitely going to be kind of in the Browns' favor. And then, of course, Nick Chubb back there as well is going to be able to take advantage of, I think, some of these defenders who, just aren't really playing the run as sound as they should be.
I mean, I'll admit, though, at least you got one defensive tackle. We have zero. Yeah. Anyway,
That's fair.
I am not high on that group. I hope Perrion Winfrey one day can be it. But
I got to say real quick, Winfrey was probably my biggest pre-draft crush. Loved Perrion Winfrey. I'm a big Big 12 guy, so he's somebody that I've watched for a while. I really hope he's able to put it together because, I've heard that there's been some kind of off the field or, just non-football kind of related personal stuff going on. So, hopefully it's rookie growing pains and he's able to get it together.
From what I was told, what I've heard from around, it sounds like just some immaturity things with being late. He was like showing up late, which, yeah, you got to figure out how not to show up late. But like that's not a big deal. Like that's not like, oh my God, what I mean? Like it's like show up on time. And I'm sure Myles Garrett had some things to say about it. And when he talks, most of the time people tend to listen because he's an alien.
I would.
I would, yeah. Oh, God. Yeah, he's talking to me. I'm listening. So we'll go back to the linebacker room because I think where a lot of the Browns' run success is trying to attack some linebackers that might not be as athletic as the running backs are. Because I think that they try to put a lot of one-on-ones with defensive backs and linebackers when it comes to the run game. They try to, because, they talk about this system, the way Stefanski runs his system with him and Bill Callahan is there's always one player that will be free, and that guy's that's the running back's responsibility. And of course, Nick Chubb has forced more missed tackles than 30 of the other NFL teams have forced combined. So it's been really fun. 26 forced missed tackles in 3 games. It's just, I've got a helmet at my desk at work signed, and it's, most precious possession. So how do you feel about the linebacking room overall, not just against the run, but against pass coverage as well?
Yeah, I think actually I would say that the linebacking core is probably the strongest piece of this defense right now, which is a little bit of a surprise because, kind of the common theme we're seeing here is new starters across the board. Michael Walker's the green dot wearer of the defense. He's third-year player out of Fresno State. He's looked fantastic. He's somebody that had a lot of pressure on him coming in because he's taking over for former Pro Bowler Deion Jones. So a lot of people really weren't sure if this guy could really do it. He's been making plays, been getting key interceptions and turnovers, forcing fumbles. So love to see that from him. He's the better of the two in coverage as well when it comes to the starting group. He's able, you can trust him to be out there. He's in the nickel package and everything like that as well. Next to him is Rashawn Evans. And Rashawn Evans has played within the Peas system before. So luckily him coming over and playing and being new to the team this year, you didn't really see him miss a beat. He, I think, thrives in this kind of a defensive scheme. The dude just loves, I've never seen somebody that looks like they love hitting, pulling guards and tackles, but he just looks like he loves doing it. Like, has no problem being the guy to go up there and clean up so that somebody else can get the tackle. Coverage is shaky though. That's kind of always been his weakness, since he's a former first round pick. So, he's a guy that didn't necessarily live up to the hype of that pick. So he's somebody that I think the team doesn't want to necessarily leave out there too much to be a liability, but at times they've had to. The other thing is, I talked about this the other day, is the Falcons came out in a 2-5-4 defensive front against the Seahawks. 2-5-4, edges stacked up in a 2-point stance on the end, and then they put in rookie linebacker Troy Anderson. Troy Anderson is somebody that I am super excited. I didn't even think he'd be playing defensive snaps this early. He's a guy that played quarterback, running back, outside linebacker, and inside linebacker at Montana State. So he's played both sides of the ball. And you can tell that he has it all up here. If you're a former quarterback, you have to be able to digest the playbook. And it looks like he's done it enough to where he's won the confidence of Dean Pease, who notoriously hates playing rookies. He does not like playing rookies at all. Anderson's still going through some growing pains. You see the flashes, you see, the 4.4 speed. When you look at him out there, he's one of those guys where it's like Myles Garrett, and you're just like, that dude's different. Like he dwarfs all of the other guys, and he's 22. Like 20, you don't understand, where these kids come from or how they're made like that. But the linebacking group is very opportunistic, and I think they're really going to have to clean up their tackling. There's definitely been some instances of where they like to try and throw a big hit and not wrap up. That's not going to work against Nick Chubb. That's not going to work against Kareem Hunt. You're going to have to really hit these guys, and you're going to have to wrap up and play solid fundamental defense. And we'll see if they're up to the challenge.
Kareem Hunt, it was really funny because there was for me and some other people in Cleveland, there was this misconception that he was a scat back because that's kind of what they did with him in Kansas City. He just wants you talk about a linebacker that loves to hit a pulling guard. Kareem Hunt's a running back that loves to hit a linebacker. That dude, he's like, oh, there's somebody to hit, and it's fun. I think it's going to be a really fun matchup. I think overall, I just think this game's going to be fun. I like high-scoring football games and teams trying to attack in different ways, and I just think it's going to be I think there's 2 really good offensive minds coming into this game, and I'm really excited. I'm an offensive guy. I don't know if you can figure that out, but I'm very big offensive guy. So let's go to the corner. We all know what's at the top of that cornerback room. And good for you though that he's not playing like the top of our cornerback room, because right now Denzel is playing like shit. He is. Well, okay,
Oh,
maybe.
I wasn't going to talk about Denzel.
Okay. Yeah. Cornerback room floor is
Well,
yours.
yeah, let's get into it. So I actually caught some flack from some fans. I got kind of tongue in cheek said, after the first game that I put AJ Terrell on Jag Watch. So that's just a guy for people who don't know. And he gave up 2 touchdowns in the first game. Both were in the red zone, and it was just Jameis to Michael Thomas, nothing he could do about it. In the Rams game, gave up a touchdown to Allen Robinson. It honestly looked like AJ was peeking into the backfield a little too long, and he fell asleep, overreacted to the inside jab step, and then Robinson had the outside. Now, I will say AJ bounced back, played a beautiful game against DK, broke up a huge touchdown in the end zone, was on him, and he looked like he was back to his all-pro ways. But, he's got a really big challenge this week. Amari Cooper is on fire right now. He looks unstoppable. And the guy across from AJ, Casey Hayward, he looked old against Seattle. That's, Tyler Lockett still has it. So, that's still a tough guy to cover. But, Casey at times really didn't look like the guy that you were kind of hoping that he was going to be. That being said, he's CB2 for a reason, and he's still been solid. When you look at the Nickelbacks, you've got a couple of different options they've been rolling through the season right now. So they have, we've got Alfred Hall, and I think that's been the primary 2 nickel corners so far. Both very young. Alfred's from the Canadian Football League. So, he was, I think he was the defensive MVP or something like that. He's looked solid. He's looked nice, but probably hasn't been getting as much run as some of us had been hoping. Eric Harris was playing nickel corner for some reason against the Rams, and then he had no snaps week 1. They were like, hey, let's play him in the slot. We are only playing Cooper Kupp, no big deal. And then he didn't get a single snap on defense when we played Seattle. So I think the staff kind of learned their lesson very quickly there. Not sure why you would ever play a box safety as a nickel cornerback, but they said they wanted to run some more complicated coverages, and it definitely looked complicated for Eric Harris. I can say that.
Listen, I only laugh because these are like the same things we're saying about a lot of the Brown situations. Like, because you got these 2 massively blown coverages, a 75-yard touchdown against Baker Mayfield in week 1 where there was nobody there. The beginning of them falling apart to the Jets was nobody was covering Corey Davis on a 66-yard touchdown. And it's just like, you've got it. And in both cases, one of the guys that was really close, the Corey Davis one was between Grant Delpit and Denzel Ward. And then on the other time, it was between Grant Delpit and Greg Newsome. Both quarters, first round picks, one paid of over $100 million. And then Grant Delpit was a very high second round, top 10 of the second round. And it was like, people talk about what it was. The belief is that the Browns like to call 2 plays based on what the offense does. It's this coverage or this coverage. And in multiple times in the first couple of games, half of the defense was playing one coverage and the other half was playing it different. So I understand the complicated coverage resulting in defensive backs not looking great. So,
and what's weird? I think we might see this get broken today. I don't know if you're a fan of Secret Base. They've been posting a stat now every week since halfway through last season. The Atlanta Falcons defense has not given up a play of over 40 yards dating back to the beginning of last season. So it's very, they have these, they're getting gashed for 10, 15, 20. You're not seeing the big play. I do think that if there was a team that could probably rip one off, I think I could see Nick Chubb definitely having a big run this week. So that's something interesting to watch.
So is there anything of note back at the safety position before we get the overall wrap up this thing?
Yeah. So Jalen Hawkins is a guy I think a lot of people don't really know about. He's from Cal. You really don't hear much about Pac-12 defenders these days, I feel like. And he's really coming to his own. He's a guy that I was worried he might hit a wall this year. I thought he really overachieved last season. His first year in Pease's system. Pease is notorious for asking a lot of his safeties, and he's playing in that free safety position. So, that's a guy that has to be the eyes, the field general, if you will. So he's somebody that's been playing really good that everybody's really excited about. And then Richie Grant. Richie Grant was the high second round draft pick last year. A lot of Falcons fans were very disappointed with Richie Grant's season. He hardly played. When he did play, he was playing nickel and not playing safety. And basically what had happened was Richie is supposed to play what within Dean Pease's system is basically this hybrid do-it-all safety role. Richie's playbook is much bigger than a majority of the teams, and we had a lot of injuries at the nickel cornerback position last year, so he had to get pulled away and play there. Richie sealed the game. He had the pick on Geno that ended up finally closing it out, and he's somebody that the guy just seems to make things happen. He even as a rookie, when people were disappointed, he was forcing fumbles on special teams and getting the ball back that way. He's somebody that's electric, and I think I'm excited to see him grow and continue to get better in this second year.
Yeah. It's just the comparisons, man, because that's what Grant Delpit is. He's all over the place.
Yeah.
And that really threw a wrench when he tore his Achilles his rookie year. It really threw a wrench in Joe Wood's plan because he was just going to put him absolutely everywhere. And he has struggled this year. He has struggled. That is one place that if you're looking to go deep and you want to attack, Grant Delpit is struggling in coverage. They don't have a true free safety on this team. We have just a bunch of box safeties and forward playing safeties. And we technically, Richard counts a free safety, but they keep making him inactive. So I don't know what the hell they're trying to do back there. He's the only one too. He's a 5th round pick, and I like Richard LeCount. I think having that big motorcycle, it was either a motorcycle or ATV accident when he was down at Georgia.
Oh yeah, I think it was a motorcycle accident.
Yeah, it was. And so like it messed up his like combine or whatever, and he tested really poorly, and he fell to like the 5th round when the Browns took him. All right, so same thing we did. Well, actually, you know what? Let's just do it overall. Talk about what the defense needs to do to succeed, and then give me your game prediction.
Yeah, so, man, what the defense is going to have to do is they're going to have to contain the run game. They're not going to be able to stop it. I'm not going to sit here and pretend that Nick Chubb's about to come out and run for 30 yards, and then Kareem Hunt's going to come out and run for 20 behind him. I think if you can hold them to about 100 and try to make Jacoby, not that he's, not been looking great when he's throwing the ball, but that's really, I'd rather take on and lose to Jacoby Brissett throwing on me than, watching Nick Chubb just go for 250, which, I mean, buddy, Nick Chubb, man, could have a day, especially since he's going to be back in Georgia. I think a lot of people don't really. He's going to have his own little pocket of fans there at the stadium, so it's going to be a homecoming for Nick Chubb, and I think he's very excited. And on the flip side, I think that they're really just going to have to limit Amari Cooper as well. You can't really fully stop these guys, but you have to limit them. You can't let them be the ones that make the big play. You need to be able to force the ball to other people, make it tough for Jacoby to get it to the playmakers and stuff like that. So, I think I think we're in for I think we said the other day that it's these are the only 2 teams that have scored more than 26 points in their first 3 games, and I think you and I are both a little down on these defenses, so it sounds like it's going to be a little high scoring affair. I'm going to say I don't know if we'll get a 5 touchdown out of either squad, but I'll say 31-28, and I got to take my Falcons.
I like that. I was gonna go 28-24 Browns. So like somewhere in that
Yeah.
same. And it's so funny when you do these shows, because you're like do you really expect when you ask anybody else that they won't pick? You know what I mean? It's like, I'm not gonna sit here and not pick the Browns. You're not gonna not pick the Falcons. Like, what are we even doing? Like, let's just say we think our teams are gonna win, and we can. Man, I really, really appreciate you taking the time out here to join me. So before we get off here, please let everybody know where they can find all your stuff.
Yeah, and Jacob, appreciate the opportunity to come on. It was great to talk. I think this is going to be a really good game this week. You guys can find me on Twitter. That's my handle. That's right there next to my name, at Treshon, TRE3SHON. And then you can also find us at the Around the Block Network, Falcons_ATB. And then, of course, like Jacob said, the new Melliniuem Falcon podcast. You got to check it out for the name alone. We worked hard coming up with that name, and it was one of the few things we were really excited for coming into the season. So, really appreciate being here.
All right, man. Well, appreciate your time. We'll talk to you guys again tomorrow with our Week 4 NFL picks on our Saturday edition. We appreciate you guys and everything checking us out, and we'll talk to you guys next time. As always, go Browns.